Good evening, and this is America's Mayor live from downtown Palm Beach. I don't really think this is downtown Palm Beach. Downtown Palm Beach is about 4 blocks away. You'd have to consider that Palm Beach has 2 downtowns. Sometime, because it's become of interest, I think, because the president will be spending time here for the next 4 years. We're not going to show you anything that jeopardizes his safety or access to Mar-a-Lago. We'll show you the downtown areas, where people hang out. Maybe it'd be easy to do too when he's not here and they aren't as crowded. There really are several centers to Palm Beach, right, Ted? Right. Yeah, several different areas. And then a lot of people go over to West Palm, which really is hotter, younger, that sort of thing. Trump is, I've never seen a president-elect accomplish as much as he has. So he's already, he's already done away with the prime minister. He's already done away with the prime minister candidate he doesn't like. That's pretty good. He's got the prime minister of Denmark, who at the beginning was ready to go to war with him, who wants to come over and convince him that they can work out peacefully whatever it is that he needs from Greenland. And he's got the prime minister of Greenland, who wants to declare his complete and total freedom from Denmark, which he has a right to do with a plebiscite or a vote. I shouldn't say plebiscite. That was the old a Nazi term when they elected Hitler. But he wants to be free of both of us. He wants to be free of Denmark, and he wants to be free of America, and he wants the Greenland people to be Greenlanders. A worthy thought, right? But he says he's willing to talk over any kind of arrangements or. At a press conference Friday in Denmark, Agiti said he was open to discussing Greenland's future with Trump, but warned that his people had no interest in becoming Americans. They want to decouple whatever remains with Denmark, and they want to be free. Now, there's only 56,000 of them. And, I'm not saying anything here now, but I don't know, in this world, you want to be just your own country at 56,000? With all these people that want to grab you? Bad people, not like us in Denmark. I mean, whatever we're doing with Denmark, they're a big ally. And it really is a question of, do we need control of this place if Xi or Putin decide to go nuts? And look, Trump is a highly intelligent man and a responsible man. And we haven't had that since he was there. So nobody pays attention to the fact that Xi has told us he wants to take control of the world. Well, I would say that if you lived through the last century, or if you are a reasonably intelligent, knowledgeable person about history, and if you haven't learned the following, do not take the boasts and the plans of these dictators. Don't just dismiss them. We've done that to our detriment, time and time again. I'm not going to recite them. You know them. I've done it often enough. So this is a central place in the world, right? And we had to occupy this place during the Second World War in order to secure it against the Nazis doing something bad with it. Doing something, grabbing it or using it for submarines and things like that. I hate to tell you this, the Chinese Navy is larger than ours right now. Now, since they're larger than ours, and we purport to be a 2 ocean navy, are they a two-ocean navy? Or whether they are or aren't, do they think they're a two-ocean navy, which is more important? So I would say these are serious things that he's discussing, and he's got them to the point where they're being discussed seriously. There aren't too many American presidents that could have accomplished this. Biden, no way. No way. Lincoln, no way. So now we're going to have a serious discussion about how we can secure Denmark and tighten it up so it can be a plus for us in the attempt to keep China out of becoming a dangerous two-ocean navy. And similarly, keep Russia out of being able to utilize it when they are really neighbors. So that's one. Panama, same situation. Panama, and I consider Panama worse in some ways. China has two of the locks out of 5. They should have none of the locks out of 5. The treaty says that we have the right to use military force if there is a question as to the neutrality of the canal. There is a question as to the neutrality of the canal. And he has a perfect right to use troops under that treaty. So, President, whatever the hell your name is, wake up, pal. Wake up. You want my advice? Get rid of the Chinese. Throw them out. Goodbye, Chinese. Want to sue me? Sue me. I don't want to mess around with the United States. And by the way, they owe us that. Who built that damn thing for them and gave it to them for nothing? And we support everything they do. And come on. Messing around with the Chinese. Killed 100 million of their own people. Come on, the Panamanians are Catholics. Cut it out. Communist monsters? You're messing around with communist monsters?
These are sick people.
Mariano Rivera would be ashamed of you. I know that. So you know that we went over this on the prior show in great detail. We'll do a little bit on it here in case you didn't listen to the prior show, the Rudy Giuliani show. And we pointed out how not that the fire was preventable, the extent of the fire was definitely preventable. The massive damage that it did when you consider no fire in the hydrants, no water for the pumpers, 20 to 30 years of not doing a damn thing about the underbrush, with demands to do it. They're turning down the water because you'd affect the smells. And by the way, the smells got eaten up by some other fish anyway. And they're doing really well somewhere else. If you like smells, there are plenty of smells you can get all around the world. If you like them. You like eating their bones? Yuck. And I'm Italian. Now, look, I'm going to tell you, don't get angry at me, paisans. I like sardines either. Never told my grandmother. Christmas, Christmas Eve. Come into our house. I used to get sick. But I was a good boy. I made believe. I cried behind my grandmother's back, eating those awful fish. Every Italian I know wants to do the 5 fishes or 6 fishes or 7 fishes or 2 fishes or 3 fishes. I want to do one, just give me some salmon, okay? All right? I don't want any of those smelly bottom dwellers. When I was at Gracie Mansion, I had Anna Maria was my chef in charge, has a beautiful restaurant now in Westchester. Anna Maria, of course, she was Italian. and my family loved her. And she would make two different things on Christmas Eve for us. She'd make the traditional Italian thing, and then she'd make some kind of a bastardized Italian thing for me, who she'd made fun of. But sacrificing human life for smells. That is what they do. This is what they do. Is this going to mark the end of the Democrat Party? What do you think, Ted? Is there a chance that this is so bad they're destroying an entire section of one of the most beautiful parts of America? Basically, a lot of it due to their negligence and political avarice and political cunning and political lying. Is somebody going to say, okay, let's get rid of this damn party and start a new one with honest people?
So it's definitely it's going to have to change, right? If they want to remain one of the two major parties.
Well, do good people really want to be part of the Democratic Party? I mean, do good, honest people really want to be members of a party with people like Shifty Schiff, who lies and lies and lies, with lawfare that tries to destroy Donald Trump, tries to destroy me, tries to destroy Professor Eastman, tries to destroy a bunch of young people who maybe don't even have the strength and the resources to fight back the way we do? They're criminals.
That's right. So I think there's going to be a big shift. We'll see that in the hopefully coming years here. We've already seen it now. Even before President Trump won the election, I think the left has gone too far in many ways, and a vast majority of the American people are rejecting it. And we're seeing it play out in real times. The real consequences of when serious organizations, fire departments, police departments focus on DEI and these woke policies rather than
they're in my wheelhouse here when they're talking about fires and policing. And this is what I paid. I had to study the budget, and I did. I don't know if you know this, but from the time I got elected mayor until I had to present my first budget, which was about 2 months into it, I spent every opportunity I had alone to read the budget and to question Peter Powers, my first deputy mayor, and also an accountant and lawyer, and Abe Lackman, my head of OMB, on what does this mean? What does that mean? How do you do that? How did that calculation get done? I didn't know a damn thing really about complex budgets, just simple ones. And I learned it. And when the day came to put out my first budget, I did it without notes. To show the press what happens when you have an intelligent mayor. How things... People say, well, how did you change the city so much? Because I applied intelligence to it, free of political corruption. New York City has held back 150 years of political corruption, being held back right now by political corruption. So is San Francisco, so is Los Angeles. So in New Orleans, this gentleman who runs a very well thought of, by the way, security company, Don Aviv. Let me give you the name of the company also. Interfor International. So they do security assessments, and they were asked to do a security assessment for Bourbon Street or New Orleans. And they suggested improvements to the area's bollard system, which we noted didn't appear to work. More than 11 agencies and insurance groups reviewed the recommendations in our French Quarter report, which is now nearly 6 years old, and not a single thing was done. Had that been up, I don't know. I don't know if it would have prevented him. Maybe it'd have been enough so that he would have turned around and gone off in another direction. And who knows? These people work on instinct. It's a little like suicides. I've had experience with suicides and learned by trial and error and then by instruction, that get them to keep talking, because they may come out of it. They may come out of the, I mean, not all suicides, but a lot of suicides are in the throes of an unrealistic depression, in which you don't see anything good at all. You don't see any hope, any light at the end of the tunnel. And if you can get the person to start talking, they're going to start developing it themselves. I don't know. We all have, I imagine, It's a Wonderful Life memorized, but look how that's, of course, dramatized and played out over a movie with a lot of time. But you see what you see there, that the angel shows Mr. Bailey the relevance of his life. He thinks he's useless. His business is going down. Nobody's going to help him. His life meant nothing. His brother was a great hero in the war. His ear got hurt and he couldn't go in the war. And there he is about to kill himself. And the angel comes and attempts suicide himself to engage Mr. Bailey in getting out of himself to help somebody else. And then he saves the angel. And over a period of time, the funny things happen with the angel, explaining he's 200 years old, and the guy who runs the gatehouse thinks they're all crazy, and they go into the bar and they get thrown out. But over a course of the next 30 minutes of the movie, you see what life would have been like had Mr. Bailey not lived. And all the people that his brother saved in the Second World War would have been dead, because his brother would have been dead because he saved his brother's life. And his wife would be a very unhappy spinster without the beautiful children that they had. The town would have been taken over by the monster Mr. Potter, and everybody would have had shitty little houses and been dominated by him, and on and on and on. And then when he gets an opportunity, oh, there's me. Then when he gets an opportunity to reflect on it, he realizes that he's got to go back to his family. And when he gets there, the most beautiful things happen. All the things he did in his life now come back to him, and his friends come and help him because he helped them. I often say to people, social safety net, develop friends, take care of people, help them. They'll come back and help you if you need it. Help them. The young, start doing it now. They won't all. There are people that don't pay attention, and people think they're entitled to it, and people that did it. But enough of them will, like you will. Like somebody helped you. You find out they're in trouble, you're going to help them, right? I hope you are. The people who watch the show will, because they're good people. They're good Christians, or good Jews, or good ethical people. That's who we like on this show, not a bunch of scoundrels. So this attack, maybe. I think this is less definitive than the horrible situation in Los Angeles, for which Gavin Newsom and Mayor Bass should be thrown out of office immediately, because they are a clear and present danger to the lives and safety of their citizens. I'm going to get the book, All the President's Money, by James Comer. And I'm going to look for in it, and I'll let you know by tomorrow night, maybe tonight after, because I'm looking at another book tonight. I'm going to let you know whether he describes the central position of the text, the admission by Hunter that he paid his father half of his salary for his entire life, which ties together all of the deals and logically, of course, that's who the money is for, the father. And when they say there's no evidence that Joe got money, this email is evidence. It's an admission. It's an admission which is admitted into evidence as an exception to the hearsay rule. Okay. So I'm going to take a short break. Good time, Ted?
Yeah.
And then we'll come back and we'll look at that. I see Ted got it all. Oh, Ted's all set. We'll be right back.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
Sure. Here we are back again with America's Mayor Live. So I was going to get the Comer book, but it says here on Kindle that you have to pre-order it. So I won't be able to do the search that I want to do. But I seem to think that if he had used that email, he would have put it somewhere up in the explanation of the book, because it's the fulcrum of the racketeering case. And it is a highly unusual piece of evidence to have in a criminal case. Highly unusual to have one of the two principal defendants write out an admission of the crime. In this case, that for 30 years, I gave my father half my salary. So that opens up numerous questions, doesn't it? So some people very quickly dismiss it by saying, oh, that's hyperbole. Well, so is every piece of evidence. Well, could be. Suppose Sammy the Bull had written a document to his son and said in it, Gotti and I did 8 murders. That'd be admitted. And it'd be admitted against Gotti because Gotti was a co-conspirator. The hearsay rule allows admissions to be admitted into evidence for a specific reason. They have indicia of reliability. People generally don't say things that are harmful to themselves. Now, if they do, and there's something wrong with them, you can try to point that out. There's also the possibility that with an admission like that, you could get a judge to charge the jury that it's more effective than a confession, because a confession is done under pressure. FBI take you in and they press you. Not in the case of the Bidens, the FBI don't take you in and the FBI cover things up for you. But in the case of normal people who aren't protected by the golden circle of Democrat corruption, there's a lot of pressure. Whereas an admission you do on your own. Whatever arguments that this was hyperbole are arguments that don't appear on the surface. He's going to have to come up with it. He have to explain why did he tell his daughter this if it wasn't true? And isn't it kind of consistent with everything he seems to do is not for him, but for his father? And everybody he meets, his father meets with. You've seen now some of the pictures that have now come out beyond. You see them with Xi Jinping when he gets the 1.5 billion investment in his unbelievably insane equity fund made up of him, Kerry's son, Devin Archer, and Whitey Bulger's nephew. I know they don't tell. Homer doesn't tell you that. I don't think he tells you about the. So then you end up with these liars saying, well, it's an influence thing, but there's no proof that money was given to Biden. Mm-hmm. That email is proof. It's evidence. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to believe any evidence. You don't have to believe what Michael Cohen said about Donald Trump or what the crazy lady said about him in the most crowded department store in New York at a time when he was the most famous man in New York, decided he was going to sexually assault her out in the open. You don't have to believe that, but it's evidence. They let it come in. And this doesn't come in. This is a hell of a lot less far-fetched than that. So I don't know, and I'm very concerned if this is not in the book, because I don't think they did a good job of tying this together. And I don't know why. It's right there, right in the middle of the hard drive. It jumps out at you. And if you're a lawyer and you miss the significance of an admission, boy, don't ever try to apply for a job as a prosecutor. So I want to see, because Comer went in a lot of circles. But Ted, he never got it. I'm going to read this book and we'll find out. But the book's not out yet. You got to pre-order it, which, watch here. Going to do it right now on my Kindle. I'll get it faster that way. I got it. Okay, so I'll be
don't hold your breath on this.
As soon as they finish it. So he is releasing Gitmo terrorists. Now, how crazy? How often have we said about Biden, how crazy is that?
Right.
From the beginning, when he gave up Bagram Airbase, 400 miles from China, for no reason, not in exchange for anything, no reason at all. Yes, he was going to leave Afghanistan, but because he was going to leave Afghanistan doesn't mean you leave a tactically very important airbase 400 miles from your major enemy, 500 miles from Russia, and 400 miles from Iran. Could you possibly have a better located, modern, lethal airbase? No. Never any reason given for why he gave it up. We're told that the military objected mightily, including all those big heroes would have so many stars on, it goes down to their feet. If it were on backwards, it would cover their ass. Like Miley. And now they all objected on the theory that this could seriously compromise the national security of the United States. But not a single one of them objected to it afterwards. Kind of like the Nazi prison guards, right? Yeah, it affected the national security of the United States, but we want to keep our medals. Did you ever see the picture of Miley and Eisenhower? Miley's got 432 medals, including the one for when he first got into the Cub Scouts and sold a cookie. And Eisenhower has 5 medals right across here, 5. So that's a general. The other guy over there, you know what you call him? He's an ass licker. Too many generals that are ass lickers, not enough Eisenhowers. And the reality is anybody who let that happen to their country doesn't deserve to be a general. Giving up an airbase 400 miles from China. Oh, wow. And then knowing that at that point, let's say you didn't know that Joe got any of the money. You didn't see the little memo I told you about, 50% going to Joe. But his family clearly got $31 million from Red China. He's given up an airbase that could destroy Red China, and he got an absolutely unseemly amount of money from Red China. And I'm supposed to believe that they're not connected? Sorry. I don't believe it. And what about leaving behind the $85 billion worth of weapons? So what are we talking about? I mean, what's going on? Somebody better kind of figure this out so it doesn't happen again, huh? So now he's letting Gitmo terrorists go. He just let 11 go. You know what the odds are? The odds are 35% they're going to kill Americans. The Gitmo terrorists that were let go by Bush and Obama, of course, Donald Trump didn't let any go. 35% of them have returned to killing Americans. Thank you. I objected when it was Bush. I objected when it was Obama. And I object now with Biden. These 3 are, there are 11 Yemeni prisoners. These are the people that have been attacking us in the Red Sea. They've killed half dozen Americans. They've wounded 50 or 60. They're people, who knows what else they've done. What the hell was that mouth for? And we're sending them to Oman. I don't know if you've ever been to Oman. I have. I did security work for Oman. Oman's a very nice, peaceful little island that is not going to be able to contain these people. It can't even protect itself against Iraq. It needs the help of Saudi Arabia, other places to defend itself. These people will run all over Oman. These are hardened murderers, like the ones that he let out. Ted, what's wrong with him? Really? We know he's demented. But even the demented people I know don't let murderers out.
So the question is, who's really calling the shots? Who's been calling the shots? Joe Biden's, he's been out of it for quite some time now. As we can see, they plan his day around a few hours of clarity, right? Because the rest of the day he's completely out of it. And so my question is, who's calling the shots here? We have just a few days left. What else can we expect?
Have I shown them the one today?
That's great. We got to show that today.
Yeah, take a look. He was on today giving a speech. I could not understand what he was saying. I swear, I am not exaggerating. I was trying to prepare something. I'm listening to him. All I hear is, and then this comes up.
So so what you're about to see, it is a typical warning, kind of like a.
No, I think it was put up for him. Are you still there?
Yeah.
this TV box will go to sleep in 5 minutes if Biden continues to talk. If you have DVR scheduled recordings, won't be affected. Stay awake.
It's hilarious. It is funny.
This is while he was talking.
Yeah, this is great. This did pop up again, right? It's one of those warnings that come up on your TV if you haven't pushed a button in a few hours.
Fun.
This is so funny, the timing of it. Are you still there?
And we were there. Fine.
The TV wanted to go to sleep.
TV wanted to go to.
Couldn't listen to Biden any longer.
So Trump has vowed to keep Gitmo open. He can probably get rid of everybody so they can come back and kill Americans. Why does he hate us so much? What did we ever do to him? He made millions selling us out.
That's right.
Why are you showing me?
Oh, yes, I'm not showing you.
That's frightening.
See if it pauses.
Well, Iran is selling oil like crazy because they figure starting on January 20th, they ain't gonna be selling no oil anymore. Nobody's gonna be buying it because they ain't gonna go through American banks or be using American dollars. And we're gonna cut off doing business with anybody who buys oil from them, which is what we should have done 4 years ago, and they'd be gone by now. But you know, that's bare minimum. Number one that Trump is going to do to them. So they're buying as much oil as possible right now. But they better sell it to somebody quick because the first one they sell it to, the transaction is going to be stopped. Second one they sell it to, transaction is going to be stopped, and we'll stop doing business with anybody who buys from them.
Right.
You know, I don't think that we, because the media is so anti-American, have the slightest idea of the massive economic power of the United States. You just don't. You do not understand what we are. Even with our shrunken capacity now, there's nobody like us. The American dollar may be weaker, but there is nothing else. And they all hold American dollars. And if we decide to pull the rug out from under them, they all go broke. So think about it. Canada, we buy 60%. We buy 60% of our oil from Canada. If we stop buying 60% of our oil from Canada, it would take Canada a year to 2 years to readjust that, and they would not be able to do it on such favorable terms because of our proximity to Canada. And they would go under, and we would buy oil from ourselves instead of sending it overseas or natural gas. Because even with Biden's attempt to reduce, and he has reduced dramatically the amount of oil and natural gas we produce, we're still, Biden took over when we were, for the first time in a long time, energy independent. And he took us below for a while. And then our oil and gas producers on private land, because he banned it on government land, have done enough to make us one of the 3 or 4 biggest producers of oil and gas in the world. Now, you want to start using our government land, you could just say, bye-bye, Canada. Go sell it to Russia. See what you get for it. Now go sell it to China. See what you get for it, sending it across the sea. So our economic power is massive, including with China, which is going through a terrible, terrible economy. And all the predictions of China passing our economy, they even had it as early as 2030. Now it's turn of the century, with a little caveat, comma, if at all. So Iran is racing to sell oil, and we should be planning with our best friend and our most effective ally, Bibi Netanyahu. We should be planning to take out every damn nuclear facility we know of. And I bet the Mossad knows every single one. And if they don't, my friends do. Right, Ted?
Mm-hmm. That's right, Mayor.
Every single one. Just take them out. And here's the argument. It's such a stupid argument. The argument is, well, they'll just build them again. Well, then we'll just take them out again. At some point, they're going to get tired. They're going to run out of money. And believe me, that country's ready to overthrow the Ayatollah. This isn't Palestine where they all agree. You think there's a whole group of Palestinians that really likes us? They're taught from birth to kill Jews, kill Americans, to hate us. You might have a few contrarians, but you're not going to have a big population that supports the U.S. or Israel. Iran, totally different story. I don't know if you remember, but back in 18 and 19, there were plenty of pictures inside Iran of demonstrations with pro-Trump signs. And now, even more significant, anti-Ayatollah signs. To carry an anti-Ayatollah placard in Iran is to sentence yourself to death. That's a pretty serious person who's sentencing themselves to death. So I would say handled right. We could take the nukes out. We could destroy their economy. And there'd be a real chance that we could get a government there that is not a religious theocratic dictatorship. Maybe some form even of a somewhat more moderate Muslim government. The MEK, which is the largest organization that challenges them and the one they fear the most and the one they kill the most, is run by a woman, Madam Rajavi. Quite a formidable woman, but yeah, that'd be quite a thing, huh? We put in someone, an interim head of Iran. It was a woman. Wow. Change the whole place, turn it all around. And you know, that would not work in Saudi Arabia. It wouldn't work even in Dubai but Iran's a altogether different story. Iran is a much more oh boy, I'm getting myself in real trouble if I say this. Now we're going to get into the 1,000-year-old struggle between Persians and Arabs, but the Persians always saw themselves as much better educated. I'm not going to say anything.
And yeah, I'm not going to take a position on that.
You really got something to work with Iran.
That's right, man. And I wonder if these college kids on the campus of Columbia, if they're aware
they don't,
of how much they're aware of this.
Not even aware of who discovered America. I mean, I'm not sure they. If you asked them to pick out Persia on the map, they'd probably pick out Brooklyn.
Yeah.
How about the ones you asked? Why were they at the demonstration? They didn't know.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
they were two college students, right?
That's right. They openly admitted they had no idea. They were asking each other, why are we out here protesting? That was quite
from the river to the sea.
Do you think they have any idea which river?
Sea?
They can't point out the river or the sea.
Hudson River.
That's what we're gonna do next time, Mayor.
Mesopotamian Sea.
Now, that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, Harlem River. No, that's the other part of the world. Oh.
No, that's what we're going to do. We're going to bring them out. We're going to bring out a map. Next time I go to a protest, I'm going to bring a map.
I want to see how many countries they can get.
We're going to bring out a map, and I'm going to ask
They
them
don't teach geography
point
anymore.
on the map to where.
Well, why would they know geography? They don't teach that. They teach human geography. I mean, they teach like, you don't really think you're a man, do you? Or don't you feel uncomfortable as a man? Don't you sometimes think you want to be a woman? Oh, good. Let me chop it off right now.
It is.
And how about the 400 grand?
Yeah, it is quite.
How about you come up with the 400 grand for the operation? So what do you make of this big debate, Ted, between Musk and Bannon? We like both of them.
And
a
so,
lot. Of course, Steve is a warrior in arms with me.
That's right. And we're just minutes away from a
and
live report.
Navarro.
I just want to tease that we have a live report coming from California in just a few minutes.
Yeah,
but
what
back
do you
to this
make- what do you-
debate.
I wish they would stop it, because I think they're creating some fog here, where they both have some good points about the H-1B program, and either extreme is wrong. Steve, don't get all upset and call me names, but it does have a value. And yes, it can be misused, and it is misused. But used properly, it can be enormously valuable. And yes, my good friend Vivek and Elon overdo it a little, but sometimes in argument, people overdo it. Gee,
Well-
Steve, you ever do that?
Well, that's right, Mayor. And so then the left wants to score points on this. They want to point to us and say, look how
Yeah, I also think it's
divided
the wrong time. I do think it's the wrong time to argue it. We got bigger. This is an 86,000 person program, 100,000 person program. We've got 15 to 20 million illegal aliens here, a large percentage of which want to chop our heads off.
That's right, Mayor. And but the idea that this is all completely negative and that we can't have these debates just because the left isn't used to having
No, I think the debate's wonderful.
having
I
robust
just wish they
discussions
would- I
about
just
these
wish they'd
things.
take it down to a place where people could understand it.
Sure, absolutely.
What they're doing is everybody's going for the instinctual reaction. The MAGA people are getting hit with the America First thing, and the other people are getting hit with, the MAGA people want to exclude people from America, and it's a much more complicated question.
And the left and the mainstream media, they're attempting to use this ongoing robust, what I consider a robust debate within the movement to try and divide us. And
it would be a robust debate if it was conducted more intelligently. But okay, who do we have?
So, Mayor, let's go. We're going live now to California. We've got our friend Leo Zaki, who's been checking in all week.
Do I need a, or do you want to put it
Yes,
up?
yeah, let's see if we can hear for Can you hear us?
Leo, where are you tonight?
Hey, Mayor, I'm here in the Palisades by Palisades Drive. This is the spot where all these burned out cars and abandoned cars were left. As you can see behind me, all the cars here on the west side of Sunset Boulevard are burned out. And on the other side, it's kind of hard to see in the darkness, though. They're still there. They're abandoned. This is where the bulldozer had to come in and push the vehicles out of the way because people were frantically trying to get out of here.
How far from the ocean are you?
I would say I'm probably a good 1,000 yards.
Oh, you're very close to the ocean.
Yeah, not far at all here. At where Palisades Drive and Sunset Boulevard is not far at all from the water. And just up Palisades Drive, about a mile back, is where that very dry San Ynez reservoir has been down for over a year due to a minor maintenance, which was capable of holding 117 million gallons of water, but has been dry for over a year. And that would have been very, very important for helping fight these blazes here in Southern California.
And even knowing that this was coming, nobody did anything to try to get some water in there?
The fire burned all the way to the sea. I mean, literally homes on the ocean side of Pacific Coast Highway have burned down. I mean, there's just so many failures at so many levels here, Mayor. Mayor Karen Bass cutting the budget here for LAFD by $17.6 million has been a huge detriment. Her encouraging DEI initiatives and DEI hiring has definitely limited the ability for LAFD to hire in qualified people for the jobs. And then you factor in the fact that Gavin Newsom cut the CAL FIRE budget by $100 million. I mean, all these things combined, it just is a recipe for disaster. I mean, we're one of a handful of states that happens to have a insurance commissioner that capped the rates for the insurance companies. And because the insurance companies' rates got capped, people's coverages got dropped. And this happened. A lot of folks got dropped actually just a few weeks before these fires broke out here. But as you can see, there's still folks coming through here, fire, police, other folks with the press. But I mean, just to give you an idea of how hot the fires were, I mean, just take a look at this. Like, this is molten metal from from the vehicle here behind me. These fires burned so hot that it melted metal. I mean, this is the winds were kicking up at over 100 miles an hour, and it's incredibly hot. Folks were very lucky to make it out of here alive.
Now they said this morning and this afternoon that during the week the winds are going to get bad again.
Yeah, that's a concern that we have here.
What would that mean?
So right now there are still hot spots. For the fire to be officially out, all open flames have to be extinguished and all hot spots have to have been dormant for 48 hours. So we're still in that 48-hour window with the hot spots. So if the winds do kick up, they could bring these embers back to life, carry them, and ignite more flames, which could then kick the fire back off into some more places. And that would be a bit of a struggle because our firefighters are stretched very thin right now. There's 7 or 8 fires burning right now just in the Los Angeles area. You have the Altadena fire over there, which is burning still. And that whole area has been very, very decimated as well. I'll try to get some footage over there tomorrow. But, I mean, there's a lot of damage here. It's over 23,000 acres destroyed here just in the Palisades. I was with some Malibu residents yesterday asking them about their experience, and the firefighters had told them that they had literally run out of water there in Sunset Mesa in Malibu.
Well, have they run out of water like all over?
In a lot of places in the higher elevations, because of the topography here, the water pressure wasn't sufficient because of the absence of the water in the reservoirs. So DWP had to come in and bring in lower quality water, and it's still, I mean, it helped, but it wasn't enough. Most of the fighting to beat this back has been with hand crews and also with the air assault from the helicopters and Phoscheck plane drops.
Well, the first day of the fire, we saw a number of videos of people yelling, the hydrant has no water. The water supply is cut off. The hydrant's not working. I think what's his name, who ran for mayor, Caruso, did a video of that. And that seemed to be right at the very beginning that those hydrants weren't operating.
Yeah, they were supposed to be checked actually a week prior to the fire occurring. What a coincidence, right? That they were supposed to be inspected, and they did not get the inspection that they were supposed to receive. And clearly they've been poorly maintained, but so has everything here in California, especially under the leadership of Gavin Newsom. I mean, it's just another example of an infrastructure failure. I mean, much like our roads. I mean, for example, here in California, we pay an excise tax on our gasoline, and that's supposed to go to taking care of our roads. But every year, our legislature and Gavin Newsom consistently borrow, quote unquote, borrow from our excise tax from the following year to pay for other things like taking care of illegal immigrants, for example. God forbid they should put Californians first. God forbid they should put taxpayers first.
You know, I find these remarks by the DEI chief weird. This Deputy Chief Christine Larson says about someone, when she was questioned about the female firefighters who aren't strong enough to carry a man out of a burning building. And she said, referring to the man, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
Yeah, that's not your job as a first responder. You're there to help folks. Folks can't.
I mean, this would have been like, don't bother to show up tomorrow.
Right. I mean, that's such a horrible attitude to have. Like, as a first responder, your job is to help people in need. How they got into this situation is irrelevant. Your job is to help folks out of that predicament, put out fires, and save lives.
Just in case that's not enough to fire her, the deputy chief went on to say that when people's houses are burning down, they want a firefighter to show up who looks like them.
No, I think if you were in a situation, I think you would just want somebody to show up, period. It doesn't matter what they look like.
Strong,
preferably
and
6'5",
with a lot of guts. That's what I want, babes.
Somebody who's willing to come and save your life and help out. It doesn't matter. I mean,
and capable of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, the standards have been lowered, but we've seen that in our military. And I think the Marine Corps did a great job of showing the differences between the sexes and just showing that units that were all male perform better than those that were co-ed. Now, there's nothing against women doing these jobs. It's just you shouldn't be hiring based on capability, based on merit. And we've gone away from that with this DEI society.
They're going to have to be able to do. If they're going to go into a fire, they have to do exactly what a man can do.
Just do what you're supposed to do as a firefighter,
and then
save lives.
They can do desk work.
Absolutely.
Same thing for combat. They got to be able to do the same thing a man can do or desk work.
Well, you're always strongest. You're only as strongest as your weakest link. Isn't that right, Mayor?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This Larson, by the way, well, I don't know if it's a man or a woman, is paid $307,000 a year for being the Human Resources, Equity and Human Resources Bureau.
Wow. That's almost as much as the president earns.
What?
I mean, it's almost as much as the president earns. I mean, the head of the Department of Water and Power here in Los Angeles takes home $750,000 a year.
Immediately, you get 3 experienced firefighters for that.
Oh, absolutely. That would actually perform a duty instead of push paper and nonsense.
Who do you hold more responsible for this? The mayor or the governor? And the reason I ask that is Los Angeles is a key city, but a lot of this area we're looking at is not part of the city of Los Angeles, right?
Well, this is all LA city here. Los Angeles, Palisades, Malibu, it's all part of LA. I'd have to say the governor, because the real issue here is the lack of water, for sure. That really led to this being as exacerbated as it's been, but also the forest and wilderness management that we're not doing. These are both directly tied to Gavin Newsom without question. Sure, the lack of firefighters here in Los Angeles, you can certainly point that at Karen Bass, no doubt about that, and the DEI policies tied to that. But again, those are all approved and signed off on by Gavin Newsom.
So, refresh me on this. The city of Los Angeles is about 3 million people.
Oh, I think it's a bit more than that. It's quite a large area.
And then how about the county? How many more are in the county?
The county, I think, is like, I want to say like 12 or 13 million. And please don't quote me on that, but it's definitely over 10 million.
Well, yeah, LA County is just about 10 million people. Just around 10 million, and the city of LA is about 4 million.
I mean, it's LA is a very widespread city. I mean, downtown is, far away from West LA. East LA is its own area. I mean, but it's all part of the greater Los Angeles area. I mean, LA County goes up into Santa Clarita. What was that, Mayor?
Has most of this happened in LA City or somewhat LA City and LA County?
It's LA County and for sure LA City. I mean, the Santa Monica Mountains here where this fire has taken place is definitely part of LA City. You see the fire crews are still coming through. They got to make sure that there's no hot spots. But yeah, this is definitely LA City over here.
How about when we go over to Pasadena?
That's still LA.
LA City.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Just north of downtown. You take the 110 north, and boom, there you are in Pasadena.
So the 2 big fires, the Palisades fire and the Eaton fire, took place in LA City, and they were the monster fires. Yeah,
and the worst part is you had arsonists contributing to stretching out our resources here. The Kenneth fire, for example, that burned over 1,000 acres, started not only by an arsonist, but an illegal immigrant who was already convicted of violent crimes back in 2023 and subsequently released and allowed to stay here in the United States.
Gee, we've never heard that before.
But this is why open borders is a big deal.
New York, every story in New York.
Oh,
Except for the arson part. Well, they're burning. They're lighting people on fire.
I didn't.
In LA, they're just burning everything.
I thought they didn't commit any crimes. The illegal aliens. They never committed. They don't commit.
No,
they don't. They're
No,
very, very peaceful.
the first thing they did was break the
very
law when they
peaceful
came
rapists.
here.
Well, that's and Leo. So, are folks waking up to? I mean, I know we're still in the middle of the emergency. I mean, they're expecting more high winds coming up here in coming days. But have some folks? What are you hearing from people in terms of? Are they blaming the government? Are they blaming these woke policies, or are they kind of listening to Gavin Newsom and the left's current attempt to pin this on global warming? And I'm sure somehow President Trump.
I think I'd say it's definitely down the middle with climate change nonsense and folks directly blaming Gavin Newsom. I mean, even the police and firemen that I've talked to are definitely upset with Gavin Newsom's role in allowing this to be as exacerbated as it's been. The residents here definitely know that Gavin Newsom is one to blame, and they're definitely frustrated with that. But a lot of them get lost in the sauce when it comes to what's really the cause, and they often defer to things like global warming or climate change. And then I have to elaborate to folks and say, well, there's a forest management thing. We didn't have the water because we're dumping it because of this fish. And it's all tied back to hocus pocus environmental stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they really use that to cover over so many inadequacies and to fool our electorate that it creates a very, very uninformed electorate. And I mean, people wonder, like I'm a New Yorker basically all my life until now. And I just can't imagine how they continue to vote for Hochul and Adams and
they just vote for what they know. Unfortunately, a lot of folks
they voted for that mayor who thinks Nixon caused poverty, and I mean, geez.
Yeah, they vote for what they know, and the familiar face, and a lot of folks here, because they've been so conditioned not to talk about politics, not to talk about religion, and everybody has just kind of got it on that bandwagon where you just don't talk about these things because it's taboo. You don't want to become a social outcast. So everybody
Especially
gets
right now. That's right, Leo. You're making a good point. They'll try to say now's not the time to talk politics. We need to all come together. Well, no, now is the time to talk about politics and the failed leadership.
They don't
because it's having real consequences.
It's the result of gun control.
That's right. And Mayor Leo is
particularly now that we know that guns can shoot themselves, like Alec Baldwin's gun.
right. Yeah,
Alec didn't pull that trigger. The trigger. Poor Alec. I mean, he didn't mean to. He just pointed the gun at the girl, and then
they just it leapt out and bit her.
The gun was malfunctioned, and the trigger went off. How did Alec know?
Right.
That's right, man. And he's making a name for himself out there. He's kind of becoming a little bit of a media sensation. He's running for governor, and
what a difference it would be, Leo, if they had a governor in California.
And he's out in the working
face of the country.
That's right. And Leo's out there working the streets, helping neighbors, helping people, and he is getting a lot of attention for doing that. Unfortunately, I mean, I can't think of a media market. I mean, New York's terrible, but the LA media market, Mayor, as you can imagine, isn't exactly friendly to conservatives or Republicans.
But you got to keep doing it on these. He's got to keep doing it on these outlets, like not just me, but there are a lot of these outlets, and we should introduce him to our friend Means in London, who maintains that Trump got more coverage than Harris. Because he was on social media, and she relied on the usual broadcasts.
Yeah.
And if you take all of the social media, it's much more pervasive.
The podcast.
And not only is it pervasive, it's a much more knowledgeable audience. So it also does more word of mouth. So, in fact, this guy maintained that if the coverage that exists now existed in 2020, they would not have been able to steal the 2020 election. It would have been impossible to cover up the hard drive. That the number of podcasts, the number of live streams, the number of alternative media that's out there, just Rogan alone would have gotten it to 80, 90% of the American people. whereas it only got to 50. So by the time you get to this election, which is when, next year?
Yeah, March 3rd, 2026 will be the primary here in California, and it's a jungle
2026.
primary.
That is a year away. Well, that's a year from now. It's
Oh my
2020.
goodness.
Unless we get
Yeah.
enough people together to get a recall to get rid of this jerk, we can have an election sooner.
that.
I like that too.
His New Yorker's coming out. Get rid of this jerk.
I like that too. I like that too. Well, let's see what happens.
Well, we'll keep in touch with you, Leo. Thanks for giving
You've
us
done a
updates
great
day
job,
to day.
Leo,
You've done a
thank
great
you.
job.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
What do you think? Do you think it'll kind of level off now, or are we going to look at some kind of resurgence here?
I think we should have things under control, and the fire should be wrapped up, especially the Palisades fire in particular. But again, the conditions are still ripe for fire. There are a lot of bad people out there, and that's really been the thing. The fires, again, they're directly caused by arson in the right conditions. So we have to be very vigilant of folks out there trying to commit arson crimes like that. Because this is really what is behind the vast majority of the fires here. So stay vigilant, folks. If you see something, say something. And I'd encourage you, as much as it sounds like not the right idea, get involved. I would say try to stop them, because by the time LAPD shows up or the fire department hears about it, you've already got a blaze going, and that can cost lives more than anything. My neighbors were brave there with my brother when they saw someone trying to start a fire in our neighborhood. They intervened. And a little bit of just getting in their face and kind of like is a deterrent. The same thing with the looters.
Yeah.
You know, they see any little bit of resistance or something that's going to thwart whatever they're doing, and they'll generally they'll run away and not commit the act. So say something, yell at them, whatever, but definitely.
And just real quick, Leo, I've been out there. Leo's got a great spot, a great community, great neighborhood in the hills. I don't want to give anything away, but you guys have kind of mobilized amongst yourselves, right? You're not waiting for the government, and you guys have kind of taken upon yourselves with your neighbors and community to protect one another and to look out for one another.
Absolutely. I hired private security after that. I was told about that. We've got people up there even still tonight. We'll probably have them continuing on throughout the weekend and the week, because we want to make sure that we don't have our neighborhood threatened, because there are crazies out there. This is something that people are willing to do because they want to make a little bit of money. In fact, I've heard reports of organized gangs in the Hollywood Hills that are going just blocking off streets and running into houses and taking and looting. So
they were doing they were doing it in the wide, the middle of the day.
yeah,
in middle
but
America,
large organized groups of people.
Yes. Well, now these homes are empty. A government order to vacate
Can
these
Leo
looters.
can Leo see the smelt?
Leo,
I don't think anybody's seen that fish in 7 years, Mayor.
People, the smelts.
Say it again, Leo.
These
I don't think
smelts
anybody's
are-
seen that fish in 7 years.
You know something?
So it's still filled.
They got
course.
eaten up anyway.
Yeah, well, because the bass,
Stupid,
folks imported bass from China and released them into the wild, and they ate up all the smelt.
Thanks, China.
yeah, thanks a lot. Okay.
Well, Leo,
thank you, Leo.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate
Get
it.
back, and God bless you and your family, and we'll be checking in. All right.
Thank you very much.
Probably a lot during this campaign too.
That's right. Leo's
Because
a great American. He's out there helping people.
This was the DEI genius. This is the DEI genius who says that if you're in a fire, you want somebody who looks like you to come and get you. So next time you're in a fire, please tell 911 that you're 6'1", you're light brown, you have blue eyes, and you're rather heavy. So send it's really somebody that looks, yeah. I want some, and if somebody doesn't look like me, I'm going to reject it and die in the fire. The guy's got to be a major jackass or girl. I don't know what it is. It's a guy or a girl.
Well, one of the two. You can't assume. It's 2025 now, Mayor. So.
I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. I'm sorry, Chief, whatever the hell you are, but you're not worth the respect.
So you are Zim.
You're telling people that they want somebody who looks like them, and then you're blaming someone who fell down. You say, well, when you were asked how are the women who don't meet the standards going to pick up some person who fell down in a fire, you said the person shouldn't have fallen down. There's something wrong with you, pal. So you want to check in somewhere and get yourself taken care of? Here are the nitwits. We still haven't figured out who the middle nitwit is, but he's the one who really, he knows where the water is, but he's not telling anybody. No, really, if they gave him some money, he might tell them. She just got back from Ghana. So she leaves for Ghana, and she leaves behind a whole thing about emergency declarations. She knows it's going to happen on the 7th. And she's over in Ghana for the extraordinarily important inauguration of the president of Ghana. You know who that is, right? Right? I mean, it was really critical that she be at that inauguration. It probably really didn't matter because she probably would have just gotten people killed if she was here.
Well, we will find out who that is, Mayor. So we are we're actually minutes
Now,
away. Oh.
Tell them what that is.
Oh, that's right. So what we have up here, many of you are now aware of this message from President Trump. He released this on his True Social just yesterday. Save Rudy, just those 2 words from the president.
To save me from the
so this, of course,
likes of
the
Judge Beryl Howell and Judge Lewis Lyman, lawfare judges of the worst kind who decide cases before you finish testifying. They had their opinions written 20 pages, 30 pages before I even got there. I don't know what the heck I'm doing going there. So
that's right. So that's
save me from them. That picture there, I want to show you that picture there. That is the new Buffalo Stadium. If that gets done quick enough, Hochul will leave. Governor Hochul will leave because she'll get the payoff for her husband that she's been working on. You see, if you can look, you can see the old Buffalo Stadium is pretty small, right? So now if you go out, you want to get a hot dog or hamburger or whatever, or beer or whatever, and you go out in this little stadium here, there could be big, long lines. Now you go out in that big giant one, look at the size of it. Be only 3 on a line. You'll buy it. Do you know how much more money this new one will take in comparison to the old one in concessions? 2 to 3 to 1. That's what happened at Yankee Stadium and all of the new ones. Do you know who's part of the company that has the concessions for the new stadium that she's been working on for 10 years to have it put so far away from Buffalo, people in Buffalo can't find it? Her husband. She's put in all kinds of state money over the objection of even the Democrats. And they're investigating Adams for upgrading his tickets. She's talking millions here, but she kissed Biden's ass, so that's okay.
Well, we want to. We have just a few minutes left.
When you watch the Bills play against, don't hold it against the Bills. I happen to like the Bills, but look at it. That's what it's all about. That's what New York politics is all about. New York politics is all about dishonesty, crookedness. The Democratic Party that has been crooked for 150 years, with very few exceptions and very few interruptions since Boss Tweed. The interruptions have come when they've had Republican or independent mayors, of which I was very honored to be only the 3rd one in the 20th century, and only the 2nd one to remain a Republican. LaGuardia and me. That's 100 years. They didn't vote for Abraham Lincoln. They better fix it quickly because this is gonna last. It's not gonna last. People can just leave and leave and leave and leave, like they're doing in California. People are leaving left and right. So CEOs are dying to get rid of their DEI policies now and their net zero policies. You can see that with Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg is crawling on his hands and knees to Trump, right?
Right.
Zuckerberg is going to be a proponent of free speech. He's the guy who banned me for 2 years because I told the truth about the vaccines.
That's right, Mayor. So, Mayor, we just have 2 minutes left because turn over to Newsmax in about 10 minutes. The mayor will be on live with Greg Kelly.
And what am I going to be talking about?
And we are going to be talking about, I believe, inauguration and the president's support of you.
Good.
Is my understanding. So
that's a nice thing to talk about.
So
tomorrow we'll be back. We'll be back at 7 on the Rudy Giuliani show on the Lindell Network and X. Always on X. You can always get us on X. And then at 8, we'll be back with America's Mayor Live. And we'll do a lot of inaugural preparation tomorrow as we get closer and we have a little more information about what's going on. And the foreign leaders who are dying to come to the inauguration, which I had never thought about this. Foreign leaders do not come to American inaugurations.
Well,
isn't that weird? I mean,
our leaders just go to inaugurations for the president of Ghana.
Well, no,
that's for Karen Basswood.
It's quite common to go to inaugurations. Like when we send, the president usually doesn't go, but the president will often send the vice president or the first lady or to an inauguration in a European country or one of our allies. But they don't do the same thing here. They do to a funeral, but not to a.
Maybe we'll get some of them now this time around. Maybe President Trump is inviting them.
Well, he's inviting his friends. He's inviting Giorgia Meloni. He's inviting what's his name from Argentina.
What about Albania? Our friend, your friend.
May. I bet Eddie May gets a ticket. Eddie May is a real scoundrel.
We got to make sure he'll find his way.
He'll figure. He'll be there.
BB, we'll see BB.
Yeah, he'll be there. BB will be around somewhere.
Well, he might be busy, getting work done. He might not have time to go party like some of these leaders.
Right? Party, just come, show up, and then go back.
Get back to work.
Kill some more of them. Okay, so pray for the people of Israel. Pray for the people of Iran. Pray for their freedom, which I think could happen if we make the right steps. Pray for the people of Ukraine, who hopefully we can stop being in this catch-22. And pray, of course, for the United States of America and for our new president. God bless America. We'll see you tomorrow night.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. It was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason. We're able to talk.